Now, before we continue, it's very important to always support your office fam. That's something that I believe in. Surely do. And the best way you can support this office bean is by subscribing to this channel, giving this video a like, and sharing it to all your office fans and friends, people that you gush about, people you, gush all over when it comes to the office. That's what she said. If that made you laugh or chuckle, even smile, give me a like, give me a chance, subscribe. Come on, Office Bean needs to get professional. I can't get there unless I have support, right? Conference room, 10 minutes. And that's kind of ironic, because at 10 minutes, approximately, in 50 seconds, we got our very first conference room meeting. Now, going into this conference room scene, it's kind of wild. There are so many faces we do not recognize here. They didn't know if the show was going to keep going, so they had to use what they had to use. They used actual accountants to fill out, the cast, actual background workers. It's pretty great. Now, if you want to know more about these background actors and their relevance to the show apart from just being background characters that fill the spot now, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I will go ahead and do the groundwork for you. This channel is just the office. Just the office. For Office Beans. Am I right? We clear? Good! Then there is no misunderstanding. As the conference room scene continues, Michael finds himself pressured by his employees to spill the beans about downsizing. Ooh. He promises to everyone, including Stanley, this guy right there, that there will be no downsizing, and then throws it over to Pam, insisting that she was there, as she knows that he could promise this. She immediately spills the beans about downsizing. Pam, try to stick to the NDA. Come on, be professional here. Now I'm going to go ahead and mark this as a negative karma for Michael, because he keeps trying to throw Pam under the bus this episode. I mean, I get wanting to have a scapegoat, but your own secretary? Receptionist got it. Sorry. But Pam doesn't stay sad for long, because in the next scene, we have a cute little talking head where John or Jim is talking about how much he hates Dunder Mifflin and how he has all this useless knowledge in his head if he were to get downsized. Well, mostly useless knowledge. He does remember that Pam does like mixed berries. Mixed berries. He's got my number. At 14 minutes, we get introduced to possibly the most iconic prank in any of the Office episodes. And it's one that every Office fan has either attempted or has thought about attempting. And that being the iconic mug in the jello. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The scene starts off with Michael introducing Ryan to Jim and Dwight for the very first time. He brings up Dwight's new car, an 8728 OZ, which he bought for $1,200 and is now worth over $3,000. Pretty shrewd. It is only when Dwight decides to show off photos of his brand new wheels that the joke is revealed. His stapler is now fully suspended in jello. And Dwight, well, he reacts exactly how you might expect him to react. He ain't happy. Michael insists on breaking up the argument by saying that they need to just move on. There's a time to put things in jello, and there's a times when you don't. And this is one of those times that you don't. Jim, of course, does the bigger thing and apologizes. I mean, he's always been Dwight's biggest flan. I guess you're gonna have to hold him in custody. At 16 minutes 16 seconds approximately, Jim asked Pam, if they wanted to go out for drinks, under the pretenses that the whole office is coming. We find out later that he kind of ditched the whole idea, so this might have actually been him being bold. And it doesn't last very long, because as he's asking Pam out, her fiance rightfully wanders in. Now Roy, being Pam's fiance, isn't having any of it. He would rather just go home, doesn't want to go drinks, and he kind of pressures Pam to do the same. Later in that same scene, we have Jim trying to convince Roy to, give him the old college try. Come out. It might be fun. Again, Roy ain't having any of it. Just stands there awkwardly, holding a black bag. What was in that black bag anyway? Now this scene right here might qualify a negative karma for Jim, and a lot of people might argue that he is pretty much asking a engaged woman out. Almost being sneaky about it. Only reason I won't give him a negative point is because he did ask Roy out as well. So in a way, he was still kind of being upfront. If Roy might have even taken this opportunity, they might have hit it off as friends, and Jim might have even backed off from Pam. Maybe even worked out, some issues they had, played therapists. Then again, that might not be too healthy either. At 18 minutes and 31 seconds, we can see Michael having a ton of fun with his new playmate, Ryan. He mentions the atmosphere of the office being one that works hard, but also plays hard. And sometimes they play too hard, so they have to work twice as hard to catch up. Or something along those lines. Michael leans in and tells Ryan, "Hey, are you a fan of X Factor, the Jamie Kennedy Experiment?" And for those of you who don't know or are too young to care, those two shows used to be early 2000 prank shows, essentially what would turn into prank YouTube channels later on. Michael sits her down under the pretenses of firing her. He noted that there was a spree of thefts all around the office, all surrounding the Post-it note. Post-it note! Which she remarks, what is that, like 2 cents a piece of paper? Sure, but, 2 cents, after a while, adds up. And this scene is heartbreaking because Pam is bewildered. She's like, this isn't real. Michael's like, yeah. Well, it's real. And the best part is, we won't even have to pay you severance because, you stole. So about that negative karma, it is only after she is weeping in her seat and the awkward cringiness of the situation just can't be dealt with anymore that Michael leans in and says, "Punk!" Starts laughing. It's just kind of a team building thing, and Pam rightfully calls him a jerk and storms off. Skipping ahead a few scenes, we see Pam leaving the kitchen looking teary-eyed. This must have been a few moments after the situation with Michael. Maybe she left his office, went to the kitchen to grab some napkins, just, throw some water on your face. Pam, I feel ya. That sucks. I hope that never happens to me. On the plus side, upon leaving the kitchen, Pam and Jim shared this really cute moment where you could tell that they're there for each other. He even asked if she's alright. He looks really concerned. Even from the first episode, you could tell that there's a feeling of love there, and that's pretty cool. But enough lovey-dovey. It is now time that we rate the Office characters, from Boss to Toby. And since this is our very first tier list, I'm going to be a little bit lenient, simply because even though we were kind of exposed to the vast characters, the vast array, we didn't really get a chance to know them. So this tier list, we're only going to be tiering 3 characters, that being Michael Scott, Jim Halpert, and Dwight Schrute. Now, I hear you, Pam was in this episode, and yeah, that's true, but she was more of a innocent bystander that got attacked over and over again. So, I'm gonna give her a pass on this one. Now, the very first negative I'm gonna have to give to Michael Scott, simply because he started the episode with almost a weird notion of throwing Pam under the bus. Of course, yes, I know he does become a better person later, but this is episode 1 Michael Scott. He is at his most Michael Scott right now, so... Now, ultimately, I did want to give Jim and Dwight some negative karma, just because they were creating kind of a weird work environment, but that's to be expected of Jim and Dwight. In fact, if these two weren't at each other's necks, it would be weird. It'd be like if they suddenly became best friends, and that's just odd. But what about earlier, when Jim was essentially asking Pam out for drinks after the... I mean... Yes, he did kind of frame it in the idea that they were going to all hang out, but it was pretty obvious who he was longing for. Yo, softy. So yeah, it's a little scummy, but ultimately in the end, he does do the right thing and does invite Roy out for drinks as well, to Roy's massive disapproval. I'm gonna find out what was in that bag. As for Michael, despite throwing Pam underneath the bus twice already during this episode, once during the meeting with Jan and the second one during the conference room meeting, we had to essentially sit down and endure his horrible prank that essentially broke Pam's heart and in equality the rest of us. So for that, he gets a big fat negative karma. Sorry, Mr. Scott. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Don't do that to people. So the final tally, after everything is said and done, on our list, which you can't see it too well there, but let's go ahead and whoop. There we go. Yeah, I brought the graphic out. That is called special effects. Yeah, welcome. As the current standing stands, we have Pam Beasley, who hasn't done anything wrong yet, at an A tier. Pretty standard, she's a good receptionist. At B, we have Dwight Schrute and Jim Halpert, because right now, they're not exactly saints in the office. They're not exactly pariahs either, so... Though Michael, he's so close to that Toby line, riding it right up to the crack. Ooh, that's what she said. And with that, we end our very first office tier list. If you enjoyed this kind of thing, please let me know in the comments below. I'm going to be doing an episode a week, and I might be doing special little things along the side. It would help me immensely if you share this video around with other people, and if you like my vibe and you like chill things, I have a second channel called Mind Munchies. Check them out. Until then, comrades, stay safe, and I will see you later. Alright, time to clock out.